can you briefly introduce yourself and describe your path to becoming a dietitian?
So my name is Jane Schwartz, and my path to dietitian started back in college when I didn't know I had no idea what I wanted to do for my profession. So I just went in blind, arts and science major, and I gained weight my freshman year, like a lot of people, actually the first semester, and I kind of bothered me. So I crash dieted and went home, kind of went back to school in the spring semester, and I was, dieting heavily and exercising a lot. And then I lost quite a bit of weight that wasn't healthy. I wasn't like anorexic, but I was kind of bordering on an unhealthy eating, disorder. And I took a nutrition class, and that sort of changed my life. I just really liked it. And then I took another nutrition class, and I was like, wow, I really love this. This field seems really cool. And that sort of episode or experience led me to, learn how to feed my body and get nourished. And I just kind of took me down that path. I ended up having to transfer schools because my college didn't offer a major in that field at the time. And so I did. I transferred and I finished out and graduated with a degree in nutrition. So it was just kind of happenstance. Yeah.
What was your initial major?
I didn't have one. I didn't really declare a major because a lot of times, I don't know what it's like now. This is a really long time ago, but you didn't have to declare right away. So it was really my sophomore year that I kind of discovered these nutrition classes, and I was like, that's what I want to major in. So I kind of went in without a major.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what does your job now entail, and what might a typical day look like for you?
So my job now is I split my time between a private practice where I see individual clients, sometimes like a couple family members at a time. And I spend about 3 days devoted to my practice. Where like I might line up, 2 or 3 initial appointments and a couple of, 2-3 follow-ups in a day, mostly virtual. And some, like I was saying before, every other week I go to an office and I see people in person. So what's really nice about that is I can schedule my hours and take time off whenever I need to. I don't have I'm not reporting to anybody. The downside is you only get paid when you work. So you don't get overtime or, paid when you're on vacation or take a long lunch. So that's the flip side of that. But within about, 11 years ago, I was in touch with another nutritionist. We became friends through a relative of mine. And we really hit it off, and we decided that we wanted to start our own business together. So we launched something called the Nourishing Gurus. And we basically work with women over 50. At the time, actually, we were like in our early 40s. So we were like working with over 40 women. And then we turned 50 and I was like, let's move this to over 50. So truth be told, I'm now 60. So anyway, we're still like the over 50 nutritionists. But anyway, so we work with women who are going through menopause, postmenopause, and all our stuff is online. So everything is virtual. And we do different programs, just helping women navigate their health, their weight, their, blood sugar, just helping them eat healthy and feel healthy in their skin and their bodies, not focusing on, being super skinny, but it's just really health and wellness, because as we age, different chronic conditions start to crop up. And as our estrogen levels drop, things can get out of control with, inflammation and blood sugar and bone health and brain health. And so we just want women to feel really healthy and vibrant as they're aging. And so we teach them how to do that through a couple of different programs.
In your private practice, do you deal with patients of all ages?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. So in my private practice, it's I don't really deal with babies, there's some like pediatric dietitians, but I will work with someone who's like in elementary school,
Okay.
all the way up teenagers, young adults, all the way up to geriatrics.
That's cool. What are some common signs in patients that indicate poor nutrition?
I would say fatigue is a big one, like energy levels. It could be someone also who is either low body weight or someone who has excess body weight, meaning they might be just eating a lot of processed foods. There's lab work. A lot of times I'll get referred somebody because their doctor said your lab work is off, like they're pre-diabetic, or they have high cholesterol levels or high triglyceride levels. So that's not something I might see on the outside, but they're coming because they have a chronic issue, high blood pressure, something like that. And I work with them to, improve their eating habits, obviously. And I work a lot on lifestyle too, because I believe that all kind of goes together.
How do you handle cases where patients may be resistant to change even when their health is at risk?
Great question. And that is something I've really developed more of a skill of over the years. I think it's hard to teach somebody that. But when you work with people over the course of a long time, in practice, you have to learn how to connect with someone. So on my intake form, I ask about their family. I ask about how, their kids, are they married? Do they have pets? What's their stress level? What one of my questions, which I think is a little bit unusual, is like, what brings them joy? So what are their hobbies? What do they like to do to be creative? What do they do in their spare time? And so kind of connecting with someone on a deeper level than just walking in and saying, here's a diet. It gives a much more personal connection. So they're more comfortable just being with me, relating to me. And then I always tell people that I meet them where they're at. So I'm not going to have somebody make a million changes if they, it just backfires. They might be able to follow something for a week and then they'll just fall off track. So I really say, I may sort of gather 4 or 5 things that I would like them to work on, but I'll say, let's pick one. What's one thing you can do until I see you again that you can get something under your belt, you can get some success with, and then we can move on to the next thing. Because it's really about habit changes, and you can't change a million habits at once.
Yeah.
So I think establishing a personal connection with someone, getting to know them first, and then meeting them where they're at, acknowledging their challenges. I always ask them what their challenges are. Like, why is it difficult for you to put, better eating habits in place? And we just address them one by one. Let's problem solve together and work as a team. So I think that really helps make them feel better about making the changes and lessen the resistance.
This is also sort of similar, but how do you balance promoting scientifically backed nutritional advice while also taking cultural preferences and personal preferences into consideration?
That's a really good question. It's a very delicate balance. So it's a case by case, I guess. There might be someone who has a really, really hard time meeting their protein needs because they're a strict vegan, and it could be, let's say, a religious thing. So I have to acknowledge that. I will ask somebody about their flexibility in changing if I feel like it's really important for them to incorporate certain things that would really benefit their health. But I'm not going to push them or push them away if that's something they're just physically aren't able to do. So you have to honor someone's cultural beliefs and, just work with what you work with. You just do, I just do the best I can with what I have. And sometimes I'm able to change someone's mind about certain things. Like if they have a hard-held belief that red meat is terrible, but it has nothing to do with a religious thing, then I may sway them and say, no, that's okay. You can get some red meat in. So it depends on why, I guess, they hold a certain belief, and I may have some wiggle room, but I'm not going to push up against something that's hard stance where they're just no, I'm not doing that. So I just work with them.
Do you have any examples of anyone who has made like just a small dietary change, but it ended up like leading to a very significant improvement in their health?
A small change with a significant improvement. I would say, like maybe one thing that comes to mind is, and I don't know if this is considered small because it's something I work with all the time, but just working more protein into the diet, can be a fairly easy change if someone isn't aware that they're not getting enough. And I've had multiple cases where just increasing someone's protein, especially in the morning, has made significant change in their mood, their blood sugar, their energy levels, everything. And they're just like, wow, I didn't realize, if I was just eating like one egg in the morning or a bowl of oatmeal, that I wasn't really meeting my protein needs. And that can be really eye-opening and like major change for them.
Wow.
So I'd say that's one example.
Yeah, that's good. Can that even be like a protein shake?
It can be, if it's a good protein shake, if it's a quality product, not just any product, because there's some really junky ones out there. So that's the nuance in making sure that they're having a good one. Yeah.
What are some common diet-related myths or assumptions you hear?
Red meat is bad. That's definitely an assumption. That, going vegetarian or vegan is like the healthiest thing you can do for yourself. That's a myth. Dietary cholesterol is going to give you heart disease. Like if you have too much cholesterol, that's a myth. Those are probably three like big ones. I would say, yeah, that helps.
What are some foods that people might not be aware of, but are actually very beneficial to a person's overall health, and you think should be incorporated into their diet? Like more generally.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that any of these will be a surprise, but like fatty fish, so things like mackerel, sardines, salmon, that's really important to bring in good quality omega-3. I would say just like in general, healthy fats. So I'll run into people at both ends of the spectrum. Some people are like keto and they're having tons of fat, but a lot of people are reducing dietary fat because they don't think it's healthy for them. But I will encourage them to have olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds. So that's healthy fat is really, really important for reducing inflammation, and it's really great for your heart, for your brain. So working in healthy fats. And then I would say another thing would be focusing on color. So I don't know how, it's not that well known that one of the things that enhances our health is the state of our bacteria in our body, our microbiome, which is all the bacterial population that lives in our bodies, mostly in our colon. So they're responsible for our overall health. Like they're involved in everything from nutrient absorption to your immune system, to your digestion, to even the health of your blood sugar and your cholesterol levels, everything. Mood, most of their bacteria responsible for serotonin levels. So our bacteria have to be fed. Mm-hmm. So they thrive on fiber and color. So one thing I work on a lot with clients is making sure that they're getting a lot of variety in their produce, their fruits and vegetables, their legumes, because that is feeding all the good strains of your good gut bacteria. So if you're eating like a red beet or a yellow beet or a green pepper or a yellow pepper or an orange carrot, like all those different colors are feeding different types of bacteria.
That's cool.
So it's really fun to think about it that way. And they're just down there waiting to get fed. So they are not going to benefit you and be able to do all these amazing things in your body if they're not well fed. So when you're eating high fiber foods and all your fruits and vegetables and varieties of colors and all your plant foods, they are just so excited. They're thriving, and they're doing a lot of good for your body. So I would say overall, people, I always say like, you kind of hear as you're growing up, like, eat your vegetables, right? But people don't really understand like why that's important, or it gets so diluted because it's such a cliche. It sounds like such a cliche. And so I try to bring it back home and say, like, no, you don't understand how important it is to be eating a variety of fruits and vegetables. Like, they are really, really benefiting you in every prevention of every single chronic disease. So I often will share an analogy that your body's like a garden. So in order to till or have a healthy garden, you want to pull weeds and plant seeds. So pulling weeds would be like excess sugar and processed foods and chips and candy and cookies and sweets and, fried foods. So you're pulling weeds and then you're planting seeds. You're planting your colorful fruits and vegetables. You're planting your proteins. You're planting your healthy fats. So it's a lot more fun to think about planting. So I'll usually talk a little bit more about what to bring into someone's diet, and then that helps squeeze out the things that aren't as beneficial.
Cool. When you said fatty fish, is that like, can you also substitute in the omega-3 supplement? You
can. So if you're someone that hates fish, that's a vegetarian, that doesn't eat fish, you can definitely take an omega-3 supplement. And if you don't want to take an omega supplement that has fish oil in it, there are algae-based omega-3 supplements that you can use, and some of them are good too.
And they have the same effect?
Yeah, you have to take a little bit more of them, but yes, they can have a beneficial effect.
So throughout your journey, what are some valuable skills you have learned that have allowed you to grow as a dietitian?
I think kind of going back to what I said before was learning the importance of finding out more about the client on a holistic level has really benefited me and my success as a practitioner. Like I was talking about, like asking on their intake form about joy or family members or stress or what they do for work, or, just getting to know them as a person has really, really helped. And, you just kind of over time, like your interviewing skills get better, your relate to someone. Is that, what was the question? Skills?
Yeah, just like anything that has been valuable to you that you've learned.
Another thing, and this is, everybody sort of, as a health practitioner, I think most people have to do this, but I take my continuing education very seriously because, we all have to, as dietitians, and I know nurse practitioners and whatever, they all have continuing ed, but I feel like in this field, I'm lucky in that they have amazing continuing ed that I never stop learning. So whether it's something I have to do to fulfill certain continuing education credits, or I'm always, even on my own, even if I'm not filling a CE credit, staying updated in my field has been invaluable because it is always changing. So I feel passionate about what I do. So I feel lucky that way. And when you work with people every day, you have to sort of stay on top of things because they'll be like, oh, did you hear this new article? This just came out about eggs or about, fiber or this. And so having this, having to stay up to date on research, I don't know if you consider that a skill, but it's something that is very beneficial to be aware. And you're like, oh yeah, I know all about that. And you're prepared to answer them. And then to sort of stay ahead in the field. So to be in tune with I love functional medicine, which is more getting to the root cause of things. It kind of goes a little bit above and beyond conventional medicine. So I try to tap into all the really savvy functional medicine practitioners that are on the cutting edge of things so that I can stay ahead and help my clients with alternative practices and, maybe doing things that they, their doctor might not have thought of, or that we could try that might help them. And then also, I think acknowledging how stress plays a role and sleep in health. And so even as a dietitian, I tell them, like, we're focused on your nutrition, but you're not going to get very far if you're not sleeping well and you're super stressed out. So I have in my arsenal, I have tools and resources that I might share with them on how to improve their sleep, or we talk about relaxation. And so I think guess the general answer would be like, the skill would be just sort of acknowledging or expanding my knowledge on like having a holistic approach to a patient or a client.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
What's the most challenging part of your job, and what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Probably most challenging would be I guess staying current with certain things. And then there's certain areas, like I do some focus on GI, like gastrointestinal, and that can be super tricky. So I find that to be very challenging. Like when someone comes with like a lot of different digestive problems, and trying to sort of sort out what testing they might need, what kind of dietary approach they might need, how much of this is like stress related, how much is, kind of working out their diet versus their stress, because there's a big gut brain connection. So I find that whole field so fascinating. I love it, but it's really, really challenging for me. So that I would say, just kind of keeping up to date with everything, because like I said, in this field, it's constantly changing and I love it, but it's also a challenge to stay abreast of everything. The most rewarding thing is just helping people. When I have a client come back after a session and they're like, oh my God, I cannot tell you how much this last session helped me. It was so amazing, and I feel so much better, or, whatever we worked on, and they're just like glowing. And that's just, it just makes it, it feels really good.
How long do you usually work with a client?
It varies. So it could be anywhere from, I would say, 3 sessions to like, I have clients that I've been working with for years, that just like on and off. I don't know what an average would be, because everybody's a little bit different, but it just depends on their needs. Sometimes they just want to work with someone as much as their insurance will cover it. So they get a certain amount of visits per year and they'll just work with that. Some people need more help and they might pay out of pocket for more sessions. I don't know. That's a tough question. 3 to 10 visits, maybe average.
Okay. So do you have any advice you want to give to people who may be interested in pursuing a career as a dietitian?
I mean, the field now, it's a little bit hard for me to say because I'm older. I just turned 60. So there's like, the field has changed a lot since I was in school. And I know I think now they like, you have to have a combined master's or whatever. I don't know. I would say, but like, if I had to do like an umbrella thing in terms of this field, kind of what I alluded to before was to look into functional nutrition, because functional medicine is like, that's the future. No question. Like, and what I don't know what they're learning now in college, like what they're teaching in the nutrition classes, but most of everything I learned, has been outside of that. And so seeking out like holistic nutritionists and functional medicine nutritionists, that if I had to go back, I would have started that journey much sooner.
Okay.
Like the Institute for Functional Nutrition is amazing. Like I would have gone through a course like that, a whole series like that. And because they teach you, and I've gleaned some of this just on my own, obviously, but they teach you how to look at someone who, like, you're looking at the whole person. Don't just get caught in a bubble of like, just what is this person eating? Okay. Because it's so much more than that. You really have to understand the reasons, why someone might have a hard time following, a certain eating plan, why they have trouble eating health, like challenges, lifestyle. It's looking at the whole picture. So that's really important. And I think when you study functional medicine, it takes you more in that direction.
Well, thank you so much for the interview.
You're welcome.